Welcome to another episode of the Film Hackers Talk Show. I am happy you are back because today you're going to take more notes than you anticipated. In fact, if you didn't have a pen, I'm going to give you just 2 minutes, okay, 2 seconds to pick up your phone, open your notes, okay, and write there instead. You won't have to go and get a pen and paper. It's fine, it's fine. Today we are talking pitching for film and TV, and in a very interesting turn of events, I have 2 people that have both been through the hands of renowned director, producer, basically film mama, Mira Naya. And as we talk pitching for film, I'd like to introduce this time, first from my left side, in the red corner, weighing 2 awards for JDC. How many kilograms are they? Very happy to introduce and welcome to the Film Hackers Talk Show, Allan Manzi. He is a storyteller, he's a director, he is a producer, and you might know him for his association with Maisha Film Lab, NBC, as well as Netflix, and now a hit TV series following Chandala. He gives us JDC, which has also won itself a couple of awards at the most recent Film Awards show. Welcome, Allan.
Thank you. Sounds good when you say it.
I'm glad. I'm happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
I think you're the perfect person to talk about pitching because the way you've traveled, I think your pitching game is stronger.
Just talk a lot.
I like that, and that's what we're here to do. And in my right corner, weighing biggie, heavy of the north. I like it very much. I am very happy to welcome to the Film Hackers Talk Show, and also, like I said, went through the hands of Mira. I would like to welcome Ian Mark Kimanje. Yes, he is Ugandan, both Ugandan Canadian, and he is the founder of Film Garage Studios and North Inc., both here in Africa and up in North America. And he's been telling us a very interesting production that is going to hit the screens very soon. But we're going to hear more about that and more from him in just a little bit. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'm very happy you're here.
I'm happy that I'm here.
And the fact that you have maintained outside Uganda, diaspora Uganda and Uganda, because those are 2 different audiences to maintain. I think Allan will also contribute to that. I think you are also the perfect person to have this conversation on pitching with. And also, I want to assume that your company receives pitches regularly.
Yeah, we do. We, about 4 or 5 years ago, we had to put up a submission inquiry like you.
Nice.
We can't just receive someone has to sign something because sometimes you, like your development department, they are developing something.
Mm-hmm.
We have a development department, and we have, like, for example, last year we were developing over 27 projects.
Yo.
And some of them already now in production, but now this year the slate is way bigger because, so when you're doing that, you have to sometimes to put submission inquiries because people may send you something that you're already developing, and
True.
And it may become like you're taking their ideas, but it's basically you are.
I like that because it's considerate of the idea of intellectual property and its protection. Because some of us, when our ideas come to us, this is a gift from God. God's expectation and yours is it's going to pay you and feed you at least for the next 3 years. Before you know it, someone out of the blue has pitched it to Film Garage and it's gone. And I want to get into the conversation of pitching. And I think let me start from your side.
Wow, that could take like a whole day, but I'm gonna summarize.
Standard bullet points, like the basics.
Summarize, like
Yeah.
you need, first thing first, like right now you need that 3-page, like summer up, like synopsis, log line in there, the 3-page. I talk about a little bit of the story, the character, and then in that 3-page you talk about yourself a little bit, like 2, 3, 4 lines, the production company. That's the first thing sometimes like we send out. And then as we are pitching, then we normally create for our size, for us we create scissors. We don't, like every project we develop these days, we create sizzle and trailer for it because people want to sell 1 minute of something, how it's going to look like.
Yeah.
And then as you're doing that, then you have another team, or you have people who are working on a pitch deck. Like pitch deck, which may be like about 1 to 10 pages, where now you're going to break down character. And this goes from animation, it's the same style, to drama, to basically like a little bit of like the style changes in production, but pitching, most of the things it's the same approach of how you do it, but you have to understand the language the executives understand, because that's the key thing. If you just put up a pitch deck like a business plan, that is not something that they would understand.
What's the language? Because I know there's a language.
Like, give them a log line, give them a synopsis, give them tone, give them the style of what you're going to do, give them a little bit of the story, and then take them on a little bit of a journey of where you're going to go and come back. Most of the times, like with my team, we do 3 sections. We'd say the beginning, the middle, and the end, and all that can be in one in one page. Okay. And we put that on the pitch deck. Then if we have already got characters on it, like we put their names on it. If we are doing co-executive producers, we put like which executive producer that are big names, and it's going to get attention. So you put their name there, a little bit of their profile, and then you start from there. Basically, that is the format. But that format it's always going to go back to the story, because once they relate with the story, and once they relate with the juice of the story, then it's like it's a sale. You may be a first timer, but if the story is right and the story is good, everyone is going to buy it.
I like that, because in my business, I think my version of pitching is an electronic press kit as a spoken word artist. So in that, I'm going to focus on what I'm selling, which is my words, and then all the other theatrics on the electronic press kit will be to speak the language of the person I'm sending it to. So I think that paints a picture for me as a creative, or even if you're creative and you've never had to create this, maybe you can add some more detail to that. Does it matter if I don't add emojis, or, as a storyteller, I don't create the mood of the mood board of the deck, What are those little things that would probably miss on a pitch that absolutely should not miss?
Well, what you sold is pretty much it. You have to give whoever's giving you that money, you have to think about it from a money standpoint, because it is what they're doing. They're giving you their money and they don't see a product. So what you're putting an imagination to their mind of what this will look like eventually. And so for pitching, you may not get it technically right. Like he said, you may be a first-time pitcher, but how you make me fall in love with your story, or how you tell that story in those 30 minutes or 15 minutes or those 5 minutes, and you make me fall in love with that story. I won't care how much it is. I'll be like, as long as you explain to me the world, oh, he does this, he's a policeman, but I've fallen in love with Maritza and this badass chick who just came out of prison to avenge
prison?
her.
Wait, what?
I don't know, I'm just saying. I'm just giving an example.
Yes, carry on.
As long as you're able to carry, because it's storytelling. If you're able to conjure that imagination into whoever is giving you that money, because you have to make them stop thinking about the money. You have to remind them what it is they would miss out on if they didn't do this. Because if you think about, oh no, you're going to get back 20%, and then you do, like, they care that they get back their money, but that's not why it is that these people do this in the first place. They want to tell stories. Most people putting money into either content or what they want to tell really, really good stories. So capture that.
Really, really good stories. And I like that we're in an environment and a culture of storytelling. The tag in the world right now is content is king. And we are paying a lot of money for content. We are paying a lot of money.
We have like 3 different, about 10 different streaming platforms, and then you
All the time, deducting your money.
You can't keep count. Everyone, there's one new every year. There's a new one every year.
I feel sorry for people with families and
Yeah.
children scattered across the world.
And the content is good. All of it is good when you look at it.
So that actually creates a saturation, but it's not a bad thing per se. And I know when that saturation happens, especially for beginners or even people who maybe have not pitched in a while or haven't been in the business for a while, coming back can be scary, or entering can be scary. So I want to hear from you, Allan. Your first pitch. Share with the masses whether this was a beautiful experience or, as we like to call it these days, a learning experience.
No, for me, it was I've been lucky, I would say. My first pitch for Chadala, it was more they wanted the show as much as I wanted to make a show. So it was more of like, the responsibility in that pitch was not to, convince them to give me their money. It was, what story can I captivate their minds with? What kind of story? Because they already want to work with me on this, but then they're like, can you just come in and give us like what kind of, so I was lucky in that the money factor, they already committed to doing a show, but they didn't know what kind of show, so I just came in and wowed them with a story. So, Uganda, 19 bichi, rugby is taking over. Fast forward 20 years, this guy is the former captain of the school team, his son is now in the school, and you take them on a journey and they see the story coming up alive, and so it really helped me. By the time I got to like JDC, JDC was, again, I talk a lot.
I feel like by the time you got to JDC, they were pitching to you their money. Was that the case?
The pilot, JDC helped us. So we shot a pilot.
Nice.
He does scissor reels. Yeah. I wish everyone could really do that, because the pressure for JDC was high, because they just commissioned Sanyu, they just commissioned Prestige, Koja was coming out, a lot of great content was coming out. And someone was like, where's JDC, which is now a new pilot, where is it going to go? Are they going to accept it? So pitching it and getting them to buy onto it, half the job was done because we had done a pilot, we had put it on YouTube, and the whole of Uganda had watched it, and people were already wanting. So by the time we started the pitch session of like, the audience is already here wanting the show. So so I tried to cheat that, like whereby the job is
that's not cheating.
But that's not cheating. That's how
half the job is done before you get into the office.
That's how it's done most of the times. It's some people shoot the first pilot, but if you cannot afford the first pilot, trailers, like if you, for example, if you're developing like a slate of a lot of projects, teasers would be your best to go, because you could put like, I don't know how much they could put for teaser here, but you could put in like money, and you have a 1 minute something to show to people. I remember I was talking with a known guy, Director X. We were having a conversation last year in June, and he was telling me how he pitched his new show called Robin Hood, and he tells me like we didn't have like in his production company, like this is like a biggest director, but he was like, we didn't have the source to look for where to get the footage from, and we didn't want to invest because we didn't know we were ready to get that. So what did he do? He says, like, we go to old movies and we look out for old movies that look like, that have some kind of a sense of what we are looking for to create a sizzle. And like, he put together from old movies, and then he added a little bit of two actors, like two shots from different people from his office. Right. And then like old movies and old TV shows, but he picked some things and then created a story. Because this is Director X, like he's like,
first of all,
one of the biggest directors.
I'm grateful for this degree of separation. Just one.
So he's like, and he's like, so my team does this and it's this, and I'm looking like, how did you even think about? And he's like, because it's which is like true, like. Most scissors for pitching, they don't go out to the public. They only remain to the executives you're pitching to. So if you use those movies, it's not even a copyright issue.
No, because you haven't distributed.
You have not distributed it. It remains in the pitching section. So he opens my mind on another level.
You have unlocked a new level. I hope
So
you know.
I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. So we send it in. We go to there's a big studio in Canada, Chorus. He's like, we send it to the executive at Chorus, and then they're like, this is cool. We want this. And he's like, okay, but you know we got those clips from.
Wow.
They didn't care. They didn't care because that clip has never even surfaced. He showed it to me on his phone, but it has never surfaced elsewhere in the world. So, and that's how he sold his show to now, and then Global Mail 2 came on board, and then Universal, but that's how he sold his show. So, like, you don't need to do pilot, but if you can afford to pick some things in there, and it all goes back to the story because they had already written a story script.
Yes.
So now the search was, which are other movies that relate to this or TV series, and we can get those clips out of it
And put it together.
and get our show.
Zero cost.
Yep.
And you now have a full budget for the movie you actually want to make.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you to share a pitching experience, but I feel like, can you top the Director X? You've jinxed yourself. And no, but that leads us to the next part of the conversation, preparing for pitching, because even you guys in the business, like Director X doing that's like unlocking a new level.
Yeah.
So even, we are moving into a world of advancement of all kinds of technology. At some point, I feel like these cameras will just be hovering, things are getting wild. But just by thinking from that place, what are the ways that, the steps that someone should take in preparing for a pitch? Like, already we've heard about this marvelous way of, pitching by watching all these movies and putting these ideas together.
Yeah.
But like,
I think for
expand
me,
on that.
I think for me, the first thing I'm going to say, like, which people don't think about when they're planning to pitch, is increasing your network and asking for help when you need it.
Yeah.
Who sent you?
That's the first key to pitching, to me, is asking help. As I said, like me asking X, I was also planning for another show, but we were in the same place because someone we both know invited us, and we know each other.
Nice.
So I was like, how did you? And then he's like speaking, and then we started talking. That's knowledge, because I know he had already gotten there. So the knowledge is increase your network, have people who have knowledge of what you're going to pitch. You may not be going to pitch the same style, but seek knowledge. Like, I'll give you another example. I'm not going to mention the name. There's a Ugandan director, producer, was in South Africa, and he was about to pitch. We are good friends, so he was about to pitch, and he sent me a text, and he said, bro, I'm pitching tomorrow. And I'm like, oh yeah? So what's up? He's like, I need help. And I need help to go through some of these things. I know what I'm going to say, but I want a little bit of, I know you've pitched a lot. And I'm like, okay, so in 1 hour's time, send me the stuff. In 2 hours' time, we are different time, but I could stay up, and then we go through this, and then I'll tell you what to say, what not to say, and all that. And then we went through all that. He still went through that worried.
Yeah.
But he was like, I don't know if I'll get it. I don't know. I'm just jigsing the story, and I'm like, you're going to get it if you stick to those points, because I've used them before to get projects off the ground, and most of them have worked. Sometimes it's about how people perceive it. Right. And the sell is always story. Like, that's what I'm going to tell someone. The sell is always story. Make people fall in love with your story. We can do all the paperwork, all the sizzle, but they have to fall in your story. So the next day after he pitched, he said, they loved it, they're giving the money.
Hey.
And I was like,
Good for him. You were like, duh, I gave you the formula.
No, not
Nice.
that like I gave you the formula, but that is like,
No, that's crazy that
That's
just
crazy.
happened.
I
like
love
that just
that.
happened.
Yeah.
And he went on to do the project back here. But that's the essence of like
Asking for
network
help.
and asking,
Right.
because I use that a lot.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We will create something, we will create like a pitch deck, and I'll send it to a friend. Like, I'll call someone, like, there are people I call in the industry, and I talk to their people that I'll be like, hey, can we jump on a call? And just talk. And like, what are we talking about? And I'm like, this project is bothering me. It's like, okay, what do you do? Like, and then in those people you talk to, there are some who are mentors, like to you. Like for me right now, my mentor is Brenda Gilbert, Bronze Studio, the producers of Adam's Family. She has
Bron?
Bronze Studio. Brenda, she's my mentor.
I love
so
that for
I'll
you.
text
Bron,
Brenda.
double, two ends.
Yeah,
Yeah, two ends.
yeah. So I'll text Brenda and I'm like, yo, what do you think about? And then she's like, don't pitch in this time. Don't go here. Don't talk to executives at this time. They will be in the holiday. They want to respond to you. It's that, it
Very
starts
good.
there.
Nice.
Once I know the inner knowledge
Yeah.
of how do I talk to people? How do I sell to people? How do I, like, honestly, like, even like last week I was texting, like, no, Brenda actually texted me and she's like, you haven't talked to me in a while. What's
That
up?
means
What
you're
are
not pitching.
You're not working anymore.
You know?
Yeah.
And
I like that. That's really nice, especially because here in our culture, there is a lot of creatives. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not naming names. Just people I know who are afraid to ask for help. And it comes from a place of being afraid of being robbed by your mentor, which are some of the experiences that people have gone through. It also comes from a place of, being belittled, you go to someone for help, they rip you to shreds. So it comes from a place of a lot of insecurities. So maybe Allan, you can speak on that. How can we relax our insecurities to encourage, the asking for help part, and then also just, add on to, how to prepare for the pitch meeting.
I think I like how you said, like, what you said, you do with your friends. I do that all the time.
Yeah.
Whenever I have a project, funny enough, the whole of this month, I've been trying to develop, I have a concept note. I'm trying to flesh it out fully.
Nice.
The number of filmmakers I've called, people haven't talked to in how long.
So you call them
Just
like, long
so
time,
that-
but...
yeah, no, but it's because you need people, first of all, completely different mindsets to bounce ideas off of. They know your end goal, you're trying to tell a story, but they're able to pick out things you're not able to see. They have completely fresh perspectives.
Yeah.
And especially people who have expertise sort of related to the world you're building. Like if someone has made a film, then it's a great heist film or whatever, and you're trying to do a movie, it's about this chicken thief. Then I had to ask the guy who has done a heist movie, and they can tell you, oh, you can do this. But it's
Nice.
because he'll have such quick knowledge about the subject matter and how he went around it, because at the end of it all, we're all trying to find, like, film, everything you see in a film, it's all an illusion. It's just being held together by tape and like super glue. So find out.
But these are real chairs, you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, we are seated.
But like, so the trick is to find out how to maintain that illusion with little costs. So like he told, no, you do this, the same way he just described to you. So I've literally had people, like I can call like Nathan Magola. Like, if you have this is like, this down, they won't take it. But do this. Or you call whoever. And even if people are like, those people probably, they don't talk, they don't like each other. They're like, no, what? Like I call every single director in this country, I've spoken to them on the phone about a project just so that you can get that expertise. Because there's so much content to be told, there's so much time for people to watch all our work, and we are so young, we need to literally build this industry. So exactly what he did, like ask for help. I wouldn't have JDC if it wasn't for that. Like JDC, if you saw, it's a collection of a lot of actors popular people.
Yeah.
People I didn't have money to give. I was like, yes, I have a story.
Are you telling me that first episode with
So the whole
Eddie
entire
Kenzo?
pilot, the one before that. So the first pilot was on YouTube. It landed on YouTube, but we had COVID. I was like, people were doing nothing at home. I have a great idea.
I love COVID creators.
I
You
called
guys are winning.
over 30 people, and I think like 12 or 13 others that ended up saying yes.
Yeah.
And those are the ones who ended up. And the names, Natasha Sinaevi, Malaika Nyanzi, my Diana. I'm like, and they simply fell in love with the concept. What we asked of them was their time. Diana, you're busy. Give me just 3 hours. Moses, even you need 3 hours from you. Can we get this? Like, okay. So from a shoot that was supposed to happen in September, or like we end up shooting like in November, but then so that we can accommodate everyone's schedules. However, once everyone's schedule fit and we shot it, they also what we're trying to do. And if I had not been humble enough to ask of like, let me deal with the people I can deal with, I would not have the show.
Yeah.
So I think it really, really helped. And even going on for pitching, Sun was airing and Prestige was airing. But the people who I talked to the most before JD went on air were Nathan and Matthew Nabuiso. And so, and so they
That's
were like,
nice.
make sure I like do this, make sure you do this, make sure you do this.
Those were the people to call, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And these are people everyone would think, are you guys, aren't you like competitors? Like, but
You'd think.
we need each other to succeed in this one, especially in our small industry.
Actually, let me say this on camera. Like, people want to help, like, especially creatives.
Yeah.
Like, we want to help. But the thing is that our schedule may be so busy, but we want to help. Yeah. And sometimes, like, for the young ones, like, for the guys who are coming up, they get it wrong when you call out some things.
Yes.
And they don't feel like...
They feel attacked.
Yeah, they feel like... But the honest truth is that if I'm going to... Like, I don't have enough time. I have, like, 45 projects going on.
Sure.
And if I can tell you, like, the exact stuff so that we don't go back and forth being, like, nice when you're really not supposed to know the knowledge of what you need to go forward. Like, I'm not saying, like, you say it with violence, but being polite and
enough
nice,
just...
yeah. But people want to help. Like, for example, like I told you, like, my mentor is Brenda. But how we met with even Brenda, like, it was a by the way thing. We were at the same festival, and she's the chairman of that festival at that time. Nice. And we just ran into each other, and I said, B. She's like, you know me? I'm like, no, but I know Brown Studio. And I know you just finished a film with Kevin Hart, and I know you just finished this other film, and I mentioned...
We need a pitch.
Like, I know you just finished this film, like, I mentioned some of the films, like, they have finished, and I'm like, I need a mentor. Wow. And that's what I did. And she's like, you don't want to pitch to me? I'm like, no, I need a mentor.
That's because you knew exactly what you needed and wanted. I feel like that is step one in preparation for a pitch.
And that's how we, like, and she was willing to jump.
I love that.
On calls, like, I live in Toronto, she lives in BC. Once, if I'm in BC, we can connect. But we have 3-month calls, like, I don't have to go, she texts me on WhatsApp, I don't have to go through, like, the entire team she has around.
Direct. I really like this degree of separation that you keep reducing. Like every person.
Like this degree, I'm going along with it.
What are you talking about?
And you will get to yours.
Kevin Hart, like,
yours is
one
also
person who knows Kevin Hart, like 1 degree of separation. Did he say Kevin
he
Hart?
said Kevin Hart. Now there's 1 degree of separation between you and Kevin.
No.
Wait, you have met Kevin?
You can talk to Kevin.
I want to highlight an underlying theme in a lot of what you guys are saying.
Yeah.
information and research, you sound like it is very important to be equipped with information, because for you to even to get Brenda's attention, you had to know all these things that she's doing. For you to be able to get Nabwiso and Magola on board and even exhaustively engage them on their projects, you had to know what they're doing. You had to be invested. Just expound on researching for a pitch. What are the many ways that, you can get new information, get ideas, even when you're collaborating with people, how can you cook together? Like, what are some of the things you can do to increase your knowledge so that by the time you go and pitch, you're the baddest bad guy in the room?
Mackenzie,
I would say, because everything goes down to story, and story is about like the character. So I would say start from there. Try to, because you may, I love pitches because it's really anything goes.
Really?
It can be anything goes.
Yeah.
As
like
long
that.
as you're able to capture those people's minds.
Yeah.
Because they're also very open-minded and they have been bored sitting there listening to people. So you have to come in and captivate their minds. So for me, my trick is always story. Lean into the story.
yeah.
Give them as much of a bite into that story and leave them on a crazy cliffhanger.
Make it juicy. Make
Like,
a nice
and
bite.
then they were hanging on the rope as he was about to propose or whatever. So I'm hoping to make this movie so that I can tell the story. You leave them there and they're like, we can't tell you this. And you have to find a way of hooking them in. And so with the characters you build, make sure they're full characters.
Even
Like full
in the
dimensional
pitch.
characters on the page, whereby anyone can easily relate to them, whereby we can understand them in case they fail, in case we are with them when they go on, have their highs and their lows. Make us like relate with these characters as much as possible. So that when it comes down to, we can't afford it, but I like this character. Like, okay, let's find out making something with our budget for this character in his world.
Yeah.
Because someone has believed in it. And so I was like, the best way you can just keep research about your characters and the world you're trying to tell. Obviously, do your research about how a pitch deck is supposed to look like.
Yes.
Make sure it's a visually appealing pitch deck, because it's a visual medium we're dealing with.
We're going to get into excruciating detail.
But at the same time, all of that is just so that you can tell a story. So make sure the heart of it is the story, and it's strong and it's captivating. Because the rest of the work won't be as much if the story is strong. You won't have to pitch as much or try as hard. So that's what I would advise them. Make sure your thing is tight and prepare. Do the general research, but make sure your story is full and interesting.
Yeah.
Workshop it 100 times.
Like,
possible.
feed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I like the
and
idea
then and then to add on that, as stories is key, is everything. Research about the executives that you're going to pitch to.
Oh, yes.
Research about the broadcast that you're going to pitch to. What are they buying at that time? Don't go setting them a kiddies show when they are buying reality at that time.
That's true.
If you're pitching to, because executives are different sections, like they have those who commission non-scripted, and then they have those who commission scripted, and then they have those who commission like animation, like and children's content, and then all of those have different categories, like of different sections. Like for example, there are those who pitch who commission documentary, and there are those who commission reality, doc series, which the category of reality, and then there are those who commission like drama, but which like thriller or romance, like all those. There are different departments, like executives. So which executives are you going to pitch to? Do your research. If they are taking this kind of a show, don't sell them what they are not taking. They are not. That has happened to me before, where I blindly, someone set up a meeting and said, you should talk to this lady. And this lady was from BBC North America. And I'm like, I'm not ready. And she's like, no, go in. Like, this is my my development team, like they're like, go in, talk to this lady. So I go in and the lady's like, so what do you have for children?
And this is BBC?
Yeah, because BBC has like as the B4 and then as BBC Kids.
Yeah.
So they have like BBC Kids have 4 different sections. So they have early child, they have I think 7 to 11, and then they have and then now they have the Gen X, like they have the TikTok kids, like
that's Gen Z actually.
Gen Z, sorry. They have that now. Most of the broadcasters now are moving that section. They're putting that section aside as well. So I walk in and I'm like, so what's up? Like, and then she's like, so what do you have for kids? And I'm like, Shayla, why did you?
Not at all.
Did you offer adult animation?
But we have actually a show. We had a show, and then that we are developing that had just come on the slate from the UK for Copro with I'll mention his name, with David Oleweyo, and it just came in, and then I just started talking about that.
Convenient.
Yeah, because I had just read the deck, and we haven't even agreed on the terms.
Oh, wow. But you just threw it
But you're in the middle of an interview.
Yeah, but it has David Oleweyo, who was the key lead for Queen of Katwe.
Yeah. Oscar nominated.
Yeah, Oscar nominated. He's Salma and all that. I'm like, he's the executive there. And his team sent in this and then other people. And I'm like, so I just read it that morning because they put it on our drive for development. And I said, there's this project that we are, and then I just said it. And then she's like, let's set up a meeting when I'm back in GTA. And I'm like, cool. But I was out. So since
At
then,
least
I'm
you had
like,
Oyelewo to drop, like you got to name drop there.
I dropped a name drop, and then I was like, the synopsis of the project, and then because I had read like the 3 pages, once the creator she's a Nigerian UK writer, and I read it like I had read it that morning. And I was like, I didn't even know what to explain math, but I just gave a little bit of that, and I was like, that's what we have.
Yes, the meeting was not in vain.
but I was blue. Like I didn't know where to go with that.
Ah, man, doesn't sound blue at all.
So
it sounds successful.
But you need to do research, like
on pitching to and what they're buying.
What are they buying? If they are buying something, like, then you have time to prepare. You have time to answer questions. You have time to, they talk about the style, the tone, the characters. You have time to describe your characters. In this speech that I had with this lady, like, there was no, like, I didn't know what to say next.
But somehow you said the right thing.
Yeah, I said the right thing because, and then I mentioned the name, and that name is like,
it's a powerhouse name.
You know,
yeah.
so then I was like,
David
executive
Oyelewo?
producing with David, and they're like, oh, okay.
I like that.
Let's, you know.
So something, I want us to get a bit more technical with the pitches. So a good pitch has the most perfect logline. Just first explain to us why that's important, and then also how does one craft the best logline for their pitch? Like, what goes into creating the perfect logline?
First of all, people will struggle with those ones every day.
Every day.
You don't even know how. Like, even Jody right now, if you want to get another logline from it than the one we used, I'll take like
Good
3
luck.
months. You guy.
Hire us writers, eh?
Exactly. No. As a writer, you must understand how it. You have one sentence to tell your entire movie, and it captures the essence. It captures what the movie is about, the story, the character, the world, and it should also be witty, also have some sort of like weight to it, not just a plain sentence.
It should sell a dream.
How do you craft it from a 30-page screenplay for what? For TV, or an hour and a half for a movie? It's not easy. So there's no technical how-to. How I would say is that the more you know your story, the easier it is to come out. Because it's one of those things, you won't most likely want to be the one to hear it, because it's to come up with it. The best loglines are when someone else describes your movie for you, and you're like, oh yeah, actually that's what I should tell people, because you have a completely interior look and introspective look at it. You're not able to see it from distance. Oh yeah,
You're in the house.
You're in it. You're building. People are like, you've built a 4-storied house for you. Thinking, oh, I'm on the 3rd story already. You didn't realize. You get it, eh? So you need that external perspective. Like, what do you think my story is about?
Yeah.
So that someone can tell you, oh yeah, your story is funny. I don't understand it, but you thought you had explained it so well. Yeah. So it's always good to, I would say, someone else will tell you what your logline is, or what should help you craft what your logline should be, because it will be the same way the people who you're pitching to will get it. If they're about to understand, someone is about to understand it, and they give you how they understand it, that's the same way anyone else will also understand it. So it's easier. So I would say outside influence to help. Ask someone else.
That's exactly what he just said. It's what I was going to tell you, because it's I've got most of my log lines from people, like, and I'm not scared of sharing or selling something or telling someone something. So I walk to you and they're like, oh, what are you working on? And I'm like, and then I'm like, I'm working on this. And they're like, oh, I know where. Like, I have a title right now of a show that I got from this guy who's so huge, but I won't tell him that when I told you when I told you the story.
Don't mute. Don't worry. Say it. No one watches this show.
No, like we were like having like drinks, and like when you do, like, most pitches go down on festivals. Like, you have to go to a lot of festivals, like TV festivals, and then you have film festivals, and then you have like doc festivals. So most of those pitches, there are a lot of executives just get paid to go to to look for something new for their TV, for something. So we are talking to this guy. I'm talking to this guy, and I'm like, I'm thinking about doing this show. Now I told him another show, and he was like, that is going to be boring. People are just coming out of COVID. And it is an executive, and I'm like, rejected right there. And I'm like, and he's like, what else do you have?
Oh, he was still interested.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, because he knows you were pro. You
can't just have
you
one
can't
thing.
have just have one. You know, not being a pro, you are creative. You can't just have one. So he's like, what else do you have? And I'm like, okay, there's this, and I tell him about the show, and he's like, oh, you can call it this. And I'm like, that's the title.
Let's go. I like that. I like that it's not very textbook. Pitching is not very textbook. And even just knowing that a sensible person, as you have put it, let someone else write their logline and whatnot. It means there's actually things about pitching that a new time filmmaker or someone venturing into it might not know how to go about. Like, I've just learned from you, the best place to pitch is at festivals.
Yeah, film festivals, film markets, film, like, but also you looks at the market, you looks at how much people, like Nathan Magola, like the way you mentioned, like, I have so much high respect for him that before he did what he right now the shows is running, he had been to almost all the biggest festivals.
Wow.
I met him as well at
and has done all those biggest workshops. And even, like, I tell you, like I'm based the other side of the world, but we text a lot. And even when I come back here, when I was coming back to do this show, opportunities are here. Like, I reached out and I'm like, bro, I'm in town.
Yeah.
And he's like, come over,
we have work to do.
Let's just sit and chat. And it's that respect that I text him to ask him things about Ugandan market.
Yeah.
Because he knows much better than I am, and I understand that. Like, there's nothing like ego here. I understand
like
that, and I respect that. And, like, so I go to that. If I want to pitch something that is in this environment, I'll still like him, I'll call guys that are in this environment that I've created here.
Yeah.
And if like, I know if he wants to pitch something in North America or where, he'll still come to me because we are creating for different markets.
Yeah.
But you can still produce something.
That's a misconception that needs to really be debunked. The idea that there's so much ego in film that, not even just film, the creative space, that people might not necessarily be able to work together. So Allan, I want you to just highlight for us some of those misconceptions that will keep someone and their whole project in the laptop and never to get out.
People think, first of all, those people are going to steal your ideas.
Yeah, we do.
Let me tell you this, there's no new idea under the sun.
Okay.
There really is. I know we are creative, we are so creative. So
but we worked hard.
We work hard and we deserve.
Yes.
Ideas need to be paid for.
I cooked.
But we're not the only one. This world is like, we have to realize we watch the same content. We interact with the same everything across this world, across this village we call the world. So you can't have, like, you can't be so jealous with your ideas of like, Baja Kunzela Gondi. They'll take my content, or they'll steal my ideas. You know, you're going to stay with your idea like this forever. But if you want it to grow, open it up to the world, let it see the sun, take it to a friend, okay, so this is the idea I have. What do you think? Share your ideas. Obviously, don't go pinning it in taxis and telling people you. But
Temuchi Susa, that's what you say.
But make sure at least you have, start giving ideas a chance.
Yeah.
Beyond the script. Like, and it's not an easy thing because as creators, we're very jealous about our ideas, our creations, or like how.
We're sensitive about our ish.
We're very, very sensitive, but we have to realize that these ideas have to grow.
Yeah.
For example, like for me, I did like Chadala with someone else, but when we wanted to do JDC, I realized it's kids. It's a whole world that you can't do it on your own.
Yeah.
And so by the time I called Nisha Kalema, who is my co-executive producer, writer, and as well as one of the actors, she's incredibly award-winning filmmaker in her own right, writer, producer, actress. Without me. So when she called me for a feature film, she was trying to get done. And she was trying to have me do it, and we're trying to develop it. And then it's in the middle of that, I was like, but actually, I have a great resource in front of me. Nisha, ka concept kaliwa, no to no call. Like, someone may be interested in doing it, why don't we do this together?
Yeah.
And also, but because of how I approached it and how we were willing to work on it, it became about, this thing is so interesting, it has to grow something else. Like, it didn't become about China agenda, it didn't become like, whose story is it? It became like, okay, this is a very good story. And I think I should realize most people, not even just filmmakers, most people, once you hear a good story, you want to be part of it.
Yeah.
You want to be like, okay, how am I part of it? That FOMO eats into you.
Yeah.
So people were like, release your stories, let them out there.
Yeah.
Obviously, they may inspire some other people you never know, and you may think they copied you, but you don't know, and there's no new story or idea in this earth, but give them a chance, because you will surprise yourself.
I like that. So while we're letting our stories see the sun, go out and walk in the vineyards, drink some wine, have a good time, one of the most running, I guess, topics today has been industry relationships. And from the conversation of pitching and where I'm sitting, you are not going to be able to be a successful pitcher like Sir E and Mark over here unless you can do that. So what are some of those ways? And you shared a story, I think before off air, about a success story of collaboration. You have so many. Just give people tips on how they can build that.
For me, like my current film that I'm finishing in Toronto is, it's, first of all, it blew me out, like how much we ended up raising in just a few months for it, because this was a project, this is above $1 million. Yes. And we raised it and this is a documentary, right? which they don't go beyond that, and we raised it in a few minutes because the executive that I reached out to, and this is like, this is the power of networking and the power of what Allan just said about telling people what you're working on. Because we had a season, I shared this season with this guy a year before. But I was hired to film produce a show at that time. This show was like, I was supposed to produce a show around the world. So I was producing a show traveling like the world, and because I was so busy, I forgot I didn't forget, like we had it, like we knew it was happening. So I go to Hot Dog and I made a broadcast and we were discussing it. And then when I was a Hot Dog, this executive that I talked with the year before about giving me knowledge of how I should make my idea much better, he was like, yo, what happened to that idea? And I'm like, I have it. Everything is ready to go. Like, you ready to go for production? I was like, yeah. It was like, send it to me. And I was like, okay. Send it to him. No. I talked to the broadcaster first. We discussed, like, the broadcaster was like, who's going to be your executive? And I'm like, you're going to produce and direct, you need an executive. I'm like, yeah. So this guy had already reached out, so I called him, like, do you want to be an executive on this? He's like, yeah. He's like a pool of money around him with different people, different organizations. So the broadcast says, like, I'm going to commit to this much. And then we go to another body and he's like, I'm going to commit to this much. And then this guy is like, I'll make a call here. And then he made like 3-4 calls. And 3-4 calls, like the budget was
done.
And we were supposed to go in production the next month.
This is from a year ago's connection.
Yeah. But also, like, that executive had hired me before to direct something for him.
Yeah.
So, but when I was directing something for him, I talked about this.
Yeah.
And I shared. I was not scared that he's going to steal it.
Yeah.
I shared and said, can you advise, how do I go about this?
Yeah.
And then from there, my film about Carnival, like, that's how it started. And
is that the one?
Yeah, is that the one?
We are going out, we don't leave me hanging.
And we had just like, we put the budget and everything together in just a month.
I love it.
But that is like the network. That is like the people you know. Someone may not, like, it couldn't be Allan or me, don't know where to pull the money from. But I know someone who knows someone, or someone knows someone who they could call and they say, what up? Like, do you know this? Like, in other parts of the world or in Canada, we have what we call bridge finance, interim financing. So you have to have that money where, like, they have already given you, like, the commission, like, they already signed. You have to have that money that comes in. I think even here that comes in to start the production before the broadcaster or the streamer puts in their money. And to do that, you have to know people. Those executives who know people who can fetch money from the bank. Like, right now, I'm in the ability where I can make some of those calls, right? But before, I couldn't. And then when that guy comes in the room, the way he talks to the streamers, the broadcasters, some of them, they have so much respect for him.
Yeah.
Because of what he has accomplished.
It also takes pressure away.
Yeah, he's pitching to them. It takes the pressure away because the business side of film,
Actually, I like that because that takes us to, I think, the final part of this conversation, which we need to highlight the gut punches of rejection and feedback.
Get used to it.
You get used to it. That's the end of conversation. And when every time you speak, I hear, be present, be present, be present. You cannot know all these people without being at these festivals, attending these events, watching their movies, making the research on, the things that you want to create, finding out who has created these things. And being there, you take stray bullets occasionally, especially if you're talking to people about your work. So I think to round up the conversation just a little bit, please share with us, both of you, of course, how you've dealt with rejection and feedback, your experience with that, of course, and your advice to anyone watching.
Rejection. First of all, you have to realize film is a very fickle industry. Like superficial industry, we judge a lot. Like it's the nature of the game. It's you have to look a certain part to fit a certain role.
Yes.
So for us to tell the best story, we have to be honest with you. So
Right.
everything that's it's like the basic thing of like the story here and the story we're telling is what's leading every single decision. So if you fit into what the story needs, well and good. If you don't, you're not the main character here. The story is the main character. If for lack of a better phrase, you have to realize we are storytellers.
Yes.
So story is king. Story is the one that's what's shaping every single decision. So if you may not, you may just be like, they rejected me because I blink a lot. I just blink a lot.
I think I'd be rejected because I smile a lot. You're supposed to be calm.
I'm just giving an example. Like you may check off every single box, but you just blink. She blinks more than a normal person. And we all look at her like, no, she's not. Yes, she is. Then you notice, oh shit, she's blinking a lot. She keeps blinking.
Yeah.
And that, you have everything else, but that alone will be like, next, we'll get the next let's get a non-blinker.
Ouch.
But you see how small that thing is, eh?
Yeah.
But how it can affect the character that you're playing is, it's enormous. How you play that character will contribute how people perceive that story and how perceive that film eventually. So that's what the execs and the producers, that's what we're always trying to protect, their story and how the story we're trying to tell. So everything else, their feelings be damned. I'm being honest with you because
no, we shall learn.
We've had to, you have to get a point whereby you're tired of telling bad stories.
Yes.
You're tired of losing money.
Yes.
And so you have to realize you have to control the process of your creating this story to that degree. And so now also, if you're asking someone to give you their money and you're pitching to them and you're like, oh, I have this amazing story, it's about Mwanga and whatever, and like, oh man, but you see, the kind of stories I find are developmental stories about kids in high school. I don't know anything about Mwanga. You have to know the storytelling and who also wants to tell that story.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, man, people keep rejecting me, I'm giving them my amazing story, but you've gone everywhere else except like
where you should
go. You get it. You have to know where your story belongs. You have to know where you as a character, what it is you're doing there. You're not there to get a job, you're there to see if you fit a certain role.
Yes.
So
feelings
rejection is the nicest way of us letting you know that the project will have to continue without you. But it strengthens you to your resolve of storytelling. You have to tell best stories.
Yeah.
So I guess that's comforting.
Yeah, for me, I should say like it's business. Rejection is part of business. And the earlier you learn that, the earlier you know, like it's not personal. They have to make sure their investment comes back. And their investment is going to come back through how many people are watching the show, and then how many adverts are they selling within the show, and then from the adverts, is the commissioner getting paid? How many people are they selling? Like what a tally is telling them when it comes to streaming. Like you have to get off your. I want to use the word.
We've heard it anyway.
Yeah, you have to take it out of being personal.
Yeah.
It's part of the business, but also when you equip yourself with knowledge, when you keep yourself with research we talked about earlier, when you keep yourself with, like Allan said, calling Nathan, calling people that are here, that have done it before. Like it doesn't have to be Ian when you're pitching a show to DSTV or to Palm Magic, which is a Ugandan show. Like there are people you can call. You can call Allan. Like it's rejection is going to come, but it's going to come like sometime if you have not done your research. But it's also part of business. I've realized like someone may say no, But sometimes when executive or producers or broadcasters or streamers don't say no, and they just keep you pending, they want to see if you are going somewhere to bring someone else on board, and then you go back to them and you're like, there's this, and they're like, oh, okay. Let's see the budget now. Like those things happen whereby they are putting you on the loop for almost a year.
You can stand by there.
Stand by. Like you don't know if they said yes or no, but there are those who come to you and they say no right away. And you just have to understand it's part of business. What you have right now, it's not going to make their money for their focus for that year.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. Okay. It's like, it's okay. They are putting money there.
Yeah.
They are not, it's not a love affair thing here. It's like,
hey, that's why it sounds like feelings be damned. We're not your boyfriend. I like that. Now, there's been an increase of young people pitching, people getting into the industry, and I want us to close with that because there's some money for us out there, Bambi. I look at you specifically.
This guy.
And then there's some even more money for us outside there. As I look to my right. I guess final word, or just the one thing, the takeaway. You've listened to everything we've said. Maybe it went through one ear and out the next. What should you not go without if you're preparing to pitch in Uganda today? Let's start with you, Allan.
I would say make sure you know your story very well. I think I've sang that more than anything. Because I believe it's the nucleus of this entire industry.
Yeah.
It's if you're able to protect that and master it, everything else will fall into place. So know your story, understand why you're telling your stories, because that's one of the biggest questions people. And actually, it's a question a lot of my colleagues also complain about. But why are you telling? Like, I want to make a movie. Why are you asking? So, but you have to understand the reason why you're telling that story, because it helps in a lot of the decision making you make as you're making the movie, and even when you're promoting the movie. So you have to know why it is you're telling that story.
Okay.
But also beyond that, I would say, equip yourself with knowledge. Equip yourself with knowledge and go with, there's no have as much knowledge, but also be ready to throw everything out once you get there. Because you may get there and you miscalculated, like how he said in his example of someone who wants something completely different. And you came in a whole different mindset. So, but you also have to be able to think on your feet like he did. But yeah, I would say knowledge, know why you're telling the movie, why you're telling the story, and understand your story in all capacities so that you can represent it, even if they attack it in all angles. You have to know it.
I like the idea of that.
Yeah,
also, speak to the animators. I feel like we haven't directed at them very much today, but you can also talk to them as well.
Animation is so slicky, and animation is one of the most, actually, it's expensive to make, but it's so gaining so much. Like you make a lot out of it.
So a successful pitch is really successful.
Yeah,
nice.
Animation you have to have just like the other pitches. The other pitches you can use pictures of other actors, but animation you have to go in actually with your illustrations. You have to go in with your drawings really tight. They have to be done. That is different from animation. Changes a little bit because they are going to be animation. So as you're preparing for your 3 pages or 1 pager, you have to have your drawings right for the show, for what you're trying to put. So your drawings have to be there, your illustrations have to be there. The world that has to be there. So that means you have to hire an illustrator early on to be in the development part of the project. Remember we are doing this project with the Kenyan Canadian producer, and the illustrator had to be hired from South Africa, to start doing all the drawings for the pitching. For the animators, for them in their pitching, they have to invest more a little bit into the world, because this is a world that you can create on a computer. So if you have a chance, they want to see it. You are not just write numbers, and you don't just write words and get pictures from online and put. You can, but still they will give you much respect if you go in as a pro. Another thing for young people that I would advise, when you're doing your fasting, you don't need to do it by you. You can go to an experienced producer. That's something that I don't think we talk about a lot, but an experienced producer is going to know the business side of the industry. The business side of the industry is key to bringing money, because people are investing. It's a business.
Yeah.
It's nothing personal. It's nothing like fun. Yes, it's fun when we are doing it. Like when we watch it, but people put in money, it's money. They think in returns. They think in investment. So for you, you have to go to the people who have experience.
Yeah.
Do a co-pro thing, partner with them. And then you start from there. Because they know what you need, like talk to them. 1 or 2 may reject, 5 or 6, but you may find one who loves the story. So sell your story to them. Start with that. Instead of like saying, I can do this by myself.
Yeah.
Business side of the industry, if you learn that early on, you're going to kill it.
Save so much money.
You save so much money, you save so much stress, you save, but the business side is the hardest. The business side is not equipment, it's not cameras. I should actually say there's some camera. Business, like the film and TV, is not how many red cameras or how many cameras or how many, like it's not equipment. The business side is on paper and knowledge. And once you learn that, you'll save a ton of money, but also you're not gonna just learn that out of the blue, even if you just come out of New York University. Like even if you just come out of Makerere learning film, you're going to learn it from Allan.
The streets.
Because Allan has mastered how to go around some things.
Yeah.
And once you do co-pro with him, Allan is going to expose you to this knowledge.
Yeah.
He has. And once you get it, that like I grasp like one film, and I'm like, I know that, and then I can do that here, I can do that here. Now, from that co-pro, the things I've learned, I can
on your own.
I can go on my own. So that's my biggest advice. You want pitch, learn from people, like go to people and
partner with the producer. I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I've taken enough notes and an invitation for Carnival. It wasn't caught on camera, but it was somewhere in there. I don't know if you guys missed it. I know Allan caught it, so that's all that matters. Thank you so much, Mr. Manzi. Thank you so much, Mr. Kimanje. This has been amazing. I hope you've taken notes. This conversation does not stop here. We continue in the comments, and then we will also be encouraging you to reach out to these guys. They're not just coming here so you can see that they're pretty. Yes, behind the scenes, people have pretty faces, but they also have the knowledge that you need. So we're encouraging you to reach out to them. And if you do that, then I guess all the things that they've talked about today could be your experience as well. My name is Maritza. Thank you for watching Film Hackers. Let's carry on the conversation.